my YouTube channel, links in my bio. We're going to be covering how to set up a cold calling campaign and a bunch of other stuff. So see you there.
I'm going live on you.
All right. So I think I learned last time. First of all, what's going on, guys? Anybody who's in here already, I've seen some people waiting. Thank you so much. Let me figure out real quick. First of all, let me get this out my face. I'm going to turn up that so hopefully you guys can hear me okay. Turn my mixer a little bit. And I want to start off by making sure I can see your guys' chat, because for whatever reason, even though they have this dashboard thing, the group chat thing does not show what's going on. So I'm just going to put test in here and see where that goes. And then I'm going to see if that actually goes over to the YouTube. Let me go to my actual YouTube channel here and pull it up real quick. Just a few things before we get started. Make sure that we're going okay. Looks like we got a couple people watching. Appreciate you guys. Let me mute myself so I don't hear myself. Or freaking sweet. Let me make sure I turn this off of that. What up? What up? What up? Okay. All right. So we're gonna give it a second, get some people in here. It's a couple more people coming in. Before we get started 100%, there's a couple little things I want to do. Just got the notification I'm on. Hey, appreciate that, Eddie, man. Appreciate you. All right. Let me close out some screens here because I got a bunch of screens open and I should have had that done before you even came on live, so you guys didn't have to wait. All right. So the reason I wanted to do this live is a couple different things, right? One, somebody who's part of the No Excuses REI stuff was asking about CallTools and how to handle it and how to get it going. And because I haven't added that kind of stuff in there yet, I was like, well, we'll just have a one-on-one. I'll show you how to do everything, and that'll be that. But then I thought about it more. I'm like, well, I need to add a video in there anyway. So what we'll do is we'll make this a full packed thing where we do it live. I answer questions. I go through how I do everything from start to finish, more or less. There's certain things I'm just not going to add in there because it's just going to be too much time. But just a couple little things I won't do. Like I'm not going to actually go into too much depth on a couple things in CallTools, like rehashing campaigns and all that stuff. That's for a different thing. This is just literally to get your list, get it clean, get it taken care of, get it uploaded in CallTools and start making calls. Now, some of you aren't going to be using CallTools. It's my dialer. A lot of guys use Mojo. However, I found that CallTools is way better than Mojo. It allows you to work with your team better, allows you to do follow-up better in an automated way, and I absolutely enjoy it. And it's a lot cheaper than Mojo with all the features it does have, and I'll cover those here once we get into Mojo itself. This is going to be pretty long, guys. So I really appreciate the guys that actually stay through this whole thing from start to finish. It would mean a lot to me, but at the same time, I understand I'm going live at 9, Central Standard Time, which is 10 Eastern. Anybody on the West Coast, you guys are still got some time of the day, but other guys might have work tomorrow. So yeah. But we're going to cover all that, okay? There's a couple little things we are going to cover beforehand. I do want to show you guys REI sifts. Are you live? I can't find you on YouTube. Let me send a message to Jamel real quick. 1 second, y'all. Hey, man, just go to YouTube, or just actually the link in my bio, man. Just click the link in my bio. It'll take you to my YouTube channel. You'll see I'm live. Yeah, so there's a few things we're going to cover. I want to show you guys REI sifts. Hey, what's up, man? Sweet. I want to show you guys REI sifts landing page. I want to get you guys' opinion on that landing page. Anybody who's watching this in the future, sorry, but I wanted to kind of show that to you guys and get you guys' opinion on which one looks better. Because I don't know, I like people's opinions on that kind of stuff. So we're going to show that real quick. Then we're going to kind of hop into things. There's people are slowly trickling in. So I didn't want to hop into everything right away. maybe I can answer any quick questions before we actually delve 100% into it. And then, maybe I'll go back through and add some other stuff in here. But first and foremost, let me bring down this screen. Let me close Slack out so Slack doesn't bother me at all. Let me bring over this here. I'm going to expand this out. This is going to be the very first thing we just kind of touch on real quick. Yeah, #1 logo, man. That #1 logo, that's the one I like to begin with. That was the one that was probably going to happen either way, just because that's my favorite one. But that was the winner, man. Everyone ended up liking that the most anyway. So what I'm going to do real quick is I'm going to show two separate landing pages real quick. So I'm going to share my screen real quick if I can figure out how to go back to my dashboard here for YouTube's. I know there's a dashboard somewhere here that I have to open up. Where'd it go? There we go. All right, so I'm going to share my screen here. Let me know when you guys can go ahead and see that. Appreciate that. All right, I think you guys can see that right now. So all the text inside of here isn't 100%, but I love you guys' opinion. This is landing page #1. As you can see, we have the REI SIFT logo, that one on there. And then from there, we kind of got our first landing page. Never settle with your data. Okay, how it works. You load your data, you clean and sort your data, you filter your data, and then you get your results. Obviously, that's not real text right there. This is just the design. Just a few powerful features. We have data sifting, list layering, advanced filtering, one-click mail and skip fulfillment, Google and Dropbox integration, address validation, data population, and so much more. And then we go into why investors are using REI SIFT, a little bit about the pricing options and so on. Okay, so that's the first landing page. Okay, now this is just the landing page. Now the dashboard and stuff like that is going to kind of have the same theme, same colors and stuff like that. But that is the first landing page. People just landing onto the site from the beginning. Second landing page option is a little bit more blue, but kind of the same premises. Okay, we got our kind of conveyor belt, kind of how we look at data. We look at it in a conveyor belt kind of way where data comes in and it flows through our models, and out of the end comes your gold and your awesome data. So how it works, same kind of thing, different kind of icons, few powerful features, kind of showing that funnel again, why investors are using it, becoming a member or whatever, and then pricing options, and then getting in touch with us, and then ready to get started. So not gonna leave that up, but let's you guys seen it now. Anybody in the future sees it. It's already going to be like within the next week or two. That's going to be already on the site. So we're going to make a decision. So anybody who's listening to this 2 weeks after, whatever the date is, sorry, your vote's not going to really count. But anyway, that's that. So let me go ahead and stop that. Go back to my cameraman or something. Hold on, that's not how that works. There we go. Okay, so back on me again. I just wanted to show that real quick and get that out there so that you guys can let me know what you thought. How do I do this? Where do I go back? Here we go. Okay, so let me know, #1 or #2 on that. Really appreciate it. And let's move on. Okay, so first I want to cover kind of like what is cold calling and why is it kind of like the big thing right now. All right, so there's a couple of reasons why I think it's a big thing. #1, mail is expensive, so a lot of newer investors obviously naturally kind of go towards that cold calling. Another big reason I think that it's even more popular right now is simply because wholesaling and real estate investing is kind of it's really in the millennial market right now, which it's kind of expanded a bunch. It's kind of all over the place, and because of that, a lot of people seek out that easy entry into entering the market and getting deals closed. I believe in having a model that best fits your lifestyle. So for some guys, mail is really it, because mail is really, it is pretty scalable as long as you allocate your money properly. Mailing is something that you could do really effectively. Send out a bunch of mail. I know people in my market that do it, and they're very successful with it. It is, I've gotten deals from mail myself. There is little bits of mail in my business model, but mailing is just another touch for me. My primary thing is cold calling. So what I used to use Mojo a bunch. I didn't even use a triple dialer to begin with, just because it was so expensive. I just used a single dialer, and I hired VAs, and they were cold callers, and they would dial somewhere around 5,000, right around 5,000 numbers, or really contacts, a month. So we'd average somewhere around 500 a day or something like that. I know those numbers don't make much sense, but it would make sense if you've seen the analytics. But nevertheless, I switched over to CallTools a little while ago, and I really like it because of the automation in it. It allows you to set up a bunch of stuff that really saves you a bunch of time. So because that's what I use, that's what I'm going to be showing. Just know that if you were to be using Mojo, all you would do is fill in Mojo in the middle of everything instead of CallTools. And Mojo is pretty straightforward how you upload stuff. CallTools is a little bit more complicated on how you upload stuff, just because of everything else that they have along with it. They need your phone numbers in a certain way, and there's a lot of other stuff you can do with CallTools. But hey, what's going on, everybody? Thanks for joining in. I've seen a few more people hopped in. If you don't mind, also, if you guys are in here, just say something in the chat, say your market and stuff like that. Be interactive, talk to each other. That way we can make sure that everybody is all learning at the same time, and you guys maybe end up being in the same market and stuff like that. So all right, so let me go ahead and kind of switch back over to my screen. What we're going to do is we're going to start off with the whole getting our data thing. We're going to talk about different lists that people use. I just stopped using Mojo, going to CallTools. Yeah, CallTools is what's up. If you guys do decide to end up using CallTools, let me know. I'll give you guys my contact over there. I think that if someone does go through the rep that I use at CallTools, I think I might get like a what do you call it? Hey, what's up? How's it going? Detroit, what's it called? Minutes. I think I get like some minutes or something like that. They don't really have an affiliate program or nothing like that, but they try and hook me up because I have sent quite a bit of people over to CallTools. So I think that the way their things, their salespeople get paid a certain amount. So I think just my sales guy has just been kind of giving me credits on my account just to kind of help out with the people I've been sending or whatever. But by no means is this a CallTools promotion. Just so you guys know, this is not a CallTools promotion. This is just cold calling and setting it up. This is more so getting the data right, setting up the campaigns, and then just making calls. And then I'll cover a little bit. Hey, what's up? What's up, man? How you doing? I appreciate you chiming in on that Facebook group, man. And then we're going to cover a really easy way to track your leads as you do get leads. That's going to kind of be the end thing as well. So, all right, let's hop into it. Just so you guys know, I have not ate anything all day at all. I felt like really full this morning because I ate really late yesterday. So I just decided not to eat for the day. Mini fast, if you will. So I'm like super hungry right now, but I'm drinking coffee. So hopefully that will, negate some of it. All right. So enough about that. Let me go ahead and switch over to my screen real quick. We're gonna talk about first. I'm not gonna cover how to use list source. Okay. I think a freaking awesome. I could be biased, guys, but I have a pretty awesome video on YouTube about, hey, Fort Worth, what's going on, my man? I know Fort Worth pretty well. Funky town. I used to have a trucking company there that we work with pretty often. All right, let me see here. How do I share my screen again? All right, so I'm gonna go back. I'm gonna share my screen. I'm first gonna show you. I'm gonna show you this video right here. It's somewhere around right here. The best list source tutorial for real estate ever. I'm not biased, I swear. That video right there. After this, make sure you guys watch that, because I'm not going to cover how to pull lists right now, because it's just too much. But the link in my bio, there's a link inside the description, rather. There's a link inside the description. And well, I still wanted list source. Hold on a second. So you'll go to list source and you'll set up an account, watch that video. I thought I had list source already up and logged in, but I'm not going to worry about it because I really don't know the password to my test account. All I have is my account here, but I don't want you guys to see all the lists and everything I have because there's other companies other than my company inside my my account. So yeah. Anyway, nevertheless, watch that video. Okay, that's a very important video for the list of list source. Now, it's kind of weird that I don't have like my camera here at the same time I'm talking. Hopefully that doesn't get really boring for you guys. But anyway, so you want to pull your list source data if that's what you're going to be calling against. Okay, you don't necessarily have to do list source data right away. Inside the description below, there is a list source cheat sheet. It's the criteria that you'll use. If you watch that video I just showed you on my YouTube channel, that video also has the cheat sheet in the description, and it covers how to pull that data and all that kind of stuff. So basically, you want to have your equity list, if that's what you want to call. I highly recommend starting off with like absentee lists and stuff like that, something that has a little bit of motivation on equity. Just straight up calling owner occupied is not going to be your best resource, because you're going to be spending a lot of money on leads to have really no results. Okay. So don't start off by starting with owner occupied. In my personal opinion, I highly believe in starting off with distressed lists, making sure that you're focusing on people that need your help. Okay. And absentee lists and equity lists are really just another verifier that it's a good prospect. Okay. So and I'll show you guys a little bit of that in a second when I cover kind of the first iteration of what REI sift looked like. We're actually going to take a list source file and we're going to put it through my local script that I have on my machine here. And I'm going to show you guys kind of how you should be cleaning your data. You can watch the video that I do have on my YouTube channel, game-changing method to clean your list source data. So you could do this manually with this. So watch that video and you can do what my script is going to do, but it's a manual method. But once you see what happens with just the script locally on my machine, you'll be like, I'm never ever gonna do that manually after seeing how awesome it is. So, but I do have that video just for those people that want to do it manually. So anyway, so yeah, get your list. I highly recommend at least getting at least one equity list. Maybe start off an absentee list, but in the description that the document that I give you, it's in order on how you should get the lists. That way you can suppress your list and spend the least amount of money on data as possible. Outside of that, you definitely want to reach out to your county. You want to get your tax delinquent list. You want to get your probate, properties and gather that data and create a list off of that. As many lists as possible. Okay. And that's really what you're going to want to do for the list stacking portion of it. And the reason I mentioned the list stacking is just because we use CallTools in two different ways. We use it as a dialer to dial out in conjunction with CallRail. And we also use it for our mass kind of shotgun approach, calling a massive amount of people. And the shotgun approach kind of basically relates and matches up with your kind of voicemail drops and stuff like that. But I don't want to get into all that kind of stuff. I just want to cover this right now. So, okay. But a lot of what we cover here will correlate into those other things. Okay. So, all right. So let's start off with showing you, we're not going to even show CallTools right now. I'm going to show you this list source absentee list from list source real quick. I'm going to give you guys kind of a peek. This is what your data would look like if it came from list source. For those who don't have any lists yet or whatever, this is a list of, let's see, this is like right around 2,000, almost 3,000 names. Okay, about 3,000 names. You'll notice there's some missing information here because there's LLCs and all this stuff. Do not send this for skip tracing like this. A lot of people just buy the list, they upload it to skip tracing, and that's that. But when you upload something for skip tracing, what they want is they want your first name, last name, mailing address, property address, and so on. But if I were to send this right now with this owner's name, what you'll notice is that there is no first name here. So, and there is no last name. So what's going to end up happening is this is not going to get skip trace effectively. You're just going to pay, 25 cents upwards of 50 cents, you know, for a skip trace, and there's not going to be any results there. So make sure you're cleaning your data. That's the very first thing you need to make sure you're doing, is make sure you're cleaning that data, and getting it to where you're going to get the best results as possible, so that when you're making your calls, you're having someone make your calls, you know that you've done your best due diligence in making sure that it's good to go. So what I would normally do at this point is I would go ahead and I would take that list, and I would use the video that I did here, right here, this game-changing method, and I would go through and I would clean that up, and I would turn that into basically one Excel document with 4 different sheets in it, as you'll see in that video. What we're going to do real quick is I have this up right here. This is like these are some scripts that I have. Initially started off as a Python script and turned out to be kind of like a little web app that I would just upload the data into and move from there. This is kind of one piece of it. So if I just do, I'm not going to bore you guys with all of it. I'm just going to kind of type it out here. It's a Python script. Will really web app. You'll notice it's going to like spawn like a web server real quick. Sorry guys for the guys that aren't like at all technical, but bear with me, okay? What I want to show you guys inside this folder though is there's an output folder here, and right now it's empty, okay? Notice how this output folder is empty, and you know, that's all we got to worry about right now. So let me go ahead and open up the browser again. What we're going to do is we're going to go to that local, I don't know if I have, here we go. I'm going to go to that local web server here, and you notice it's just like upload CSV for sifting. So what we're going to do real quick is we're just going to grab this and we're going to pop it in there. We're going to click submit. And because it's a big file and there's not a lot of like, tasking, you notice this is just spinning right now, okay? But you notice there's some stuff really kind of like popping around over here. So this is working. So what I'm going to show you real quick is if I go into this output folder now, you'll notice that there's some data in here. And what I want you to watch is see how this size is growing on the clean data, and it's also growing in the trust and the incomplete and the company. So I want to say that in the end, this gives about 350 kilobytes in the clean data. So we're going to let that kind of finish. And while that's finishing, we're going to go ahead and move on. And what I also want to tell you is this isn't skip trace yet. So I'm going to cheat. I don't have time, and you guys don't have time to sit here and send it out for skip tracing. But I would send the reason I want to show you this is because what I would do is I would send this clean data one for skip tracing. Okay, I'm going to break that down here in a second. Let's let that finish. For now, on my other screen here, I'm going to go ahead and open up my drive, and I'm going to go into my companies and pull this up after it was skip trace and show you guys a couple things real quick. That's really important. So let me get that loaded here, because I once again was not prepared, because I did not think about the fact that I would need the numbers, because we're going to end up creating a campaign, and then I'm going to delete the campaign. The account that we're going to be using in CallTools is actually I actually removed all campaigns and just created a few campaigns in there, and then started one real quick to show kind of some examples, but we're going to kind of work with it. So let me go into my list here. So you guys should have, kind of like a folder, kind of like with your company name on it on your desktop or whatever. And inside like one of your marketing folders here, there should be like a list subfolder. Okay, so keep that in mind. Make sure you have your structure set up, and that's what I'm looking at right now, but inside of Google Drive. Okay, so let me just give me a second while I'm on my other screen here grabbing this equity list. But remember, you want to be trying to get some free lists as well. All right, but at least also if you don't have to buy your whole area, your whole county might end up having like 5,000, 6,000 absentee owners, something like that. But you can at least just do, like 1,000 of them or something like that. Okay, and stack those against them. Just to kind of put yourself ahead. But let me see here. Let me see if it's this one here. I'm gonna find the ones with numbers in it real quick. Feel free to ask questions, guys, along the process. I'll definitely answer them when I see them. So if the property has 2 names, what do you do? Like if it has a like owner 1 and owner 2, is what you're asking? I just pull owner one. All that's doing is saying that there's two people on the deed, you know. So if I can contact one, then I should be then if you skip trace one, then it should be fine. You'd be paying a lot of money to try and skip, because some of them have some properties have four. You know what I mean? Because like there's you know, the heirs of a property, you know, four children on there and stuff like that. So I just do the first owner one. Whenever you do a tax delinquent list and stuff like that, you're only ever going to get one name as well. You know, so just the first one. Would you be able to do a video training later on the best distress list to put together? You know, I can, you know, I pretty much mentioned them all before. You know, there's so many out there, man, that you know, you have your, there's a lot of lists out there, but you don't really, I don't want everybody to kind of like go out there and just try and grab every single list right away, because you don't necessarily need that. You could focus on, you know, an absentee list and a tax delinquent list and stack those, along with vacancy checking, which REI SIFT does. You know, if you are someone who's got REI SIFT, then if you vacancy check it, then what you'll want to do is you want to go out there and you utilize, you know, driving for dollars in conjunction with cold calling to reach out to those people. So there's a lot of lists out there. Some lists, you know, are harder to get than others, but you know, it's easy enough to get a hold of them if you just dedicate some time to it. So let me pull back over here and look at my other screen real quick. That is not the one that I need. Let me look at this other one. I think it's this one here. Now, something to think about, like if you're using Mojo versus CallTools, is they both input numbers differently. Okay, and I'll show you what I'm talking about here in a second. All right, so all right, let's pull this over here. I'm gonna show you guys what I'm talking about. So this is one of the things that we do with our lists for. Is one of the things we do with our list for, like if it's like a tax delinquent list, we always end up having basically this kind of grid here, this info sheet. And if it's something where we're cold calling like a small list of like 30 people, like I have a hot sheet list, and if I'm calling like a hot sheet list, we have this grid here so that the whole team understands what colors mean what and all that kind of stuff. This is just an we use one template for everything, so our equity lists don't have that in there, but nevertheless, you'll see like this is the list after it's kind of cleaned up here. And I'm going to show you what it looked like here in a second. This is the first list. Then we send it for skip tracing. Well, we send the clean data for skip tracing. That clean data one isn't in here. Well, it is, but the sheet's hidden. Okay. But I'll show you what that looks like here in a second. But when you set out for skip tracing, it comes back, it goes to skip tracing, it comes back in its own way, and then it comes back and we take, you know, 10 different, we get 10 different numbers in it. And this is how, like Mojo, for example, would need it. Mojo would need one phone number in each row, and then you'd map phone one to number one, phone two to number two, and so on. But CallTools needs it differently. CallTools, we actually create a whole different sheet. And there's a formula you have to use. Notice how there's spacing in here. We basically take all 10 of these, or however many numbers are in here, and they have to be wrap text like this, stacked on top of each other. Okay, because that's how CallTools needs it. And you'll just upload this one row instead of 10 of them. But this has to be a specific way. Notice how it starts with the M. Look up here where my cursor is here in the function section. M2 stands for column M, row 2. So you're targeting that one. And then the 10 stands for that many characters. So you're saying take M1 and 10 characters and N2 and 10 characters and so on, and then stick it in this column. And when you use this, and CallTools gives you this little thing. But what happens with REI Rail is, and when we're exporting from REI Rail, what we're doing for once we integrate skip tracing into there, we're going to actually have it to where you can have a drop down arrow and you can choose that you're exporting for a Mojo or you're exporting for CallTools. And what it will automatically do is export your numbers that you have inside of REI SIFT and put it in this format for you, so that when you go to upload, it's already how you need it to be. So you won't have to really worry about this function. But for now, make sure you have this function here, because otherwise, if you just use, like I use this this thing called Power Tools, and Power Tools allows you to combine rows and send them over into one column, but it won't work. It literally has to have this in here. I've tried it so many ways. So make sure that you do that. And that's what it'll look like after we skip trace. So what I'm going to do is I'm gonna go ahead and download this as a CSV. And we're going to end up using this list and using that as our upload to CallTools, okay? But for now, what we're going to end up doing real quick, so I want to go back. I want to show you guys what happened here. So you notice how, okay, so 242 KBs, 28 KBs, 12 KBs, and 7 KBs. So I'm going to go ahead and open up. You remember what it looked like, what the list source looked like before. Now if I open this up, and remember, it did it all automatically for us. We were sitting here talking about other stuff, and it's been done for a while. You'll notice that all of this data is now clean. All the first name and last name is where it needs to be. Mailing address is where they need to be. The county's added in here. The state, everything's done. Okay. So it's all nice and clean. And now if I scroll down, remember it was like 2,800 some records. We're left with 2,424. So, that took out like 300 records. That's 300 that you would have been paying for. So let's go ahead and do the math on that. If you would have sent that for skip tracing as is, skip tracing, let's just even say you have a discount at 25 cents. That's 300 records times 0.25. That's $75. $75 you would have spent. If I did that math right, let's double check. 300 records times 0.25. Is it 0.25? Hold on. I can't remember. I'm having a brain lapse if it'd be 0.25 or for 25 cents. I think it'd be $25. So I think it'd be 300 times 0.025. No, I think it would be 25. I don't remember. Nevertheless, you get the point. You're saving money. Okay, thank you, Pat. Because it was a little shocking to me seeing $75. I mean, shit, and that's $75. You know what I mean? I mean, right now for Founders Access for REI SIFT is only $47. I'm like, damn, I need to raise my prices. No, just kidding. I thought it was, but okay. So you'll notice you're saving some money there. I know it sounds like I mentioned REI SIFT a lot, right? And that's just because I'm super amped and excited about it. But I want you guys to understand also that I have free videos on how to do this, okay? So REI SIFT is actually a web app. This is what REI SIFT was before it was a web app. So let me open up the company one. I want to show you guys that. So if I open up the company one, you'll notice that there is no first names here because there was no first names in there, but there's a business name over here. Okay, so now something that you would do is you would have your VA. You would have your VA go in here, and they would in your state look up the division of corporations for your state. Search this in that, like in Florida, it's called Sunbiz. You'd search this company name, find the owner of the company, put their first name and last name in here, and then skip trace that. And maybe update the mailing address if the company has a different mailing address. That's correct for the homeowner. Okay. So then you'd update their names here. REI SIFT will actually be linking with a business directory and trying to populate some of these, but some of these little names like Lagoon LLC, that's just not going to be available out there. But you can have your VA go in there in REI SIFT and edit that record to have the name in there, and they could just, the idea is not to have to deal with Excel anymore. It's to only work in REI SIFT. But I have videos that cover how to do all this stuff inside of my, my training portal for my VA. And it's all automated. Everything is in Google Calendars on when you have to get stuff done and stuff like that. So let's go ahead and look at, let's go ahead and close these both out now, and then look at the incomplete data to see what that looks like. So I'll show you trust in just a second. So this is like an idea of like what happens with data. Even your county will give you shit like this, okay? And sometimes it's accurate. Sometimes in the county records, there is only a T in here. Okay, and you just have to try and find the actual owner's name in some way. Sometimes it's looking at the deed, and sometimes it's other ways. Sometimes this is actually how it is, but a lot of people don't think about this. In this case, notice how there's no first and last name here, but also notice there is like a random business name like Cable or Wolfie. So sometimes it's not 100% perfect. Okay, like notice this business name was It just had an LC. So most likely that might have been an LLC, but there's just no way without like extensive machine learning to know that, because we're just basing off of filters. But what we do is, as we find anomalies like, oh, wait, this was under missing data, but really it had a business name, we'll add like just LC or USA or something like that to our filter criteria to help improve the algorithm. All right. And you would want to do the same with whatever you're doing on your filters. Like my VA has a list of filters she has to apply to all the lists, before I created the script and started building out, the automation in my business. Like 401k should have been, it is added in there now, but notice how there's a space in there, 401 space K. So that might be something that we need to add in there and little things like that. But the big one is these R and then Hernandez, these you'd send for skip tracing and you might get numbers back. You might, but they're probably not going to be very great results. But they could be. But I don't want to guess on maybes. I want to send the best data and have the best results. And then I would rather have my VA just check that. It's good enough. And if you really want to get extensive in REI-Sift, have this option. Like in my account in REI-Sift, I run my stuff against my county directly if for some of the missing data, just to check to make some stuff, to make some things for sure. So that's what you want to do there. We're going to look at trust real quick and we're going to move on because I don't want to spend a whole bunch of time looking at the data, but it's just super huge because data is king and you want to make sure all this is good. This is all the trusts. Trust was most of those. You see that? Look at all the trusts. There's 57 trusts in here. And here's the thing is like Schneider Management Trust would not get skip trace results. What might get skip trace results is Carl Joe or some of these are their owner's name and some of them aren't. This one might get results. That one wouldn't. Some of these ones that has the owner's first and last name inside the trust name, some of those will pull results, but most of them, like if it's just like family trust, it won't. And if you do pay for a company that says, oh yeah, we can get trust numbers, it might be like a 30% chance that you get results or something like that. So I would rather, try and dig in to try and find the information before I send it out for skip tracing and only get 30%. Or I just won't worry about it unless this address, because this will still list stack because we list stack based off of the property address. So if this ends up being on other lists, it's gonna list stack. And if I notice that it's filtering and it's ending up on the top and it ends up being owned by a trust, which happens pretty often because a lot of times a trust is from a probate deal and that person passed away, then I'm gonna dig deeper and I'm gonna try and reach out to whoever is managing that trust and so on. But that's how that looks, okay? And that's when I talk about breaking our data down into 4 different primary lists, but I only skip trace this one right away. Because if I pull a list, I want to be able to skip trace it immediately, but I want to skip trace it like accurately. So we clean it out quickly, and then we send that for skip tracing. For skip tracing on this, there's a bunch of different options because I know people are going to ask, what skip tracing service? My first response, I have to say, because it's going to be there, is REI-Sift. Obviously, once skip tracing is implemented into there, the idea is to never send it out anywhere else because you want to check to see if 1, 2, 3 Main Street's already inside of REI-Sift, you don't want to have to skip trace it if it's already been skip traced. So you want to save money if you can. So that's what REI-Sift will do. But besides that, until that's done, what you do is you can use batch skip tracing. You can use REI-Skip is really good. There's tons of them out there. So just find which one works for you. I think Need to Skip, there's tons of them out there. I'm not going to recommend any individual one. Even though I think with batch skip tracing, I think I might have an affiliate code with them, but it's really not that great. So I'm not even worried about it. Just find what works for you guys and what fits your budget. But generally speaking, the cheaper the skip tracing, the less the results, unless you can get a deal with somebody and get some sort of promo code. Okay. All right. So that's that. Let me close out this little web server that I had going on. And then let's kind of get into it. Let's get into the meat. All right, so I'll show you guys that lead tracker here in a minute. So I went ahead and I just logged in with CallTools. If you guys want to go to CallTools, you can sign up for the chat or whatever. But if you end up really wanting to sign up with CallTools, just send me a DM. and I'll send you the information to my boy Chase over there at CallTools, and he'll hook you up, okay? So I went ahead and I already logged in. So once you logged in, this is what it's going to look like, okay? And feel free to ask questions from here on out. This is going to start getting a little bit confusing, okay? I'm going to go ahead and pause this one here. So I created these ones. Notice that one was active. That's because I quickly played it so that it would show the redial options here. And these are all kind of new campaigns here, okay? So CallTools is up. What you want to do now, once you get to this point, is you have to have a campaign. Each of these is a campaign. Every single campaign can have multiple lists inside of it. Like my probate list, for example, you'll see inside this one, I've uploaded my probate list for the last, since the beginning of time or whatever. So from that, my arm keeps sliding on my desk and it's annoying. I pull down my sleeves. You can have multiple lists in there and you can turn off those lists. I'll show you that in a second, but let's jump into campaigns first. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to show you guys to create a campaign, but I'm not going to go through it 100%. I think normally I do Express. Let me check real quick. Yeah, so normally I do an Express campaign. So you want to start Express campaign, and then you're going to go ahead and name that campaign, whatever you want to name it. All right. You choose a default caller ID. I'm not going to click down on that. Oh, hold on a second. Let me check something. Yeah, I'm not going to click down on that right now just because I do have, in order to do the testing, I had to link my CallRail in there, and it's my actual phone numbers. So I don't want anybody who thumbs down this video to add in my mine to like the DNC list or something silly. But anyway, you'll click an add button here, and it's really straightforward on how to. Let me check something really quick. Add button, add caller ID. Yeah, so what you'll do is you'll click that add caller ID button, and then you just type in the phone number. If you highlight over it, it'll tell you. You type in the phone number, you type in a caller ID name, and then whatever you want to name that number internally, and then just save caller ID. Okay, and when we actually create the new campaign, I'll go ahead and do that, and I'll use a CallRail number from my my test CallRail account. So you can scrub federal DNC, you can scrub company DNCs, you can scrub your redials, or do suppress against your redials if you wanted to. You can put scripts in here. You just click the add button, you'll add more scripts in there. You'll upload a script like a Word document, and I'll show you what that looks like in a minute. You can also enable call recording. You can choose how to handle abandoned calls. So what that means is, so I have a CallTools number, and I use CallRail numbers as the caller ID. The CallTools numbers are just for calling back, unless for specific circumstances. That's really going to be up to you on how you kind of stage that out. Okay, so abandoned options. What abandoned options are is abandoned means if two people pick up at the same time, what happens? So whoever picks up first, the other guy you're just going to hang up on. And that's important. That's very important because of the redial templates you can create. So in CallTools, I'm not going to cover it in this session, but in CallTools, what you can do is, let's just say two people picked up and you hung up on one person. In CallTools, what you can do is you can actually have it to where in 5 minutes from now, it'll try that person that did pick up again because you know that that's a good number. So that's super, super powerful. And you can do that. Like mine, I go up to 10 times to recall back that same person in the next 48-hour period. So there's tons of different ways you can do that. And it's going to depend on your market and the times that people go to work in your area and all that kind of stuff and how you set that up. And then there's like abandoned phone numbers, and then inbound failover types. I don't use any of that stuff. Not concerned with it. So you'll save that and then attach leads to it. But what I'm going to go ahead and do is I'm just going to go back to campaigns real quick. I'm going to show you guys how. Let me go to. I don't know how to close this out. Hold on. Is there an easy way to just cancel this? There we go. Okay. So as you notice, like this absentee one has 8,534 records in there. The reason I uploaded all these in here is so that I could show you guys, these different amounts of leads and how it doesn't really matter how many leads you have, you can do deals with a small amount of leads. Okay. If you were to upload a list and you didn't see this number change, most likely you didn't add that formula into the Excel document how it needs to be, and it didn't actually take. It will go through, but none of this will change. All right. So you want to go back in and delete that list out and re-upload it and make sure that the numbers actually pull in. All right, so what I'm actually going to do is I'm just going to go ahead and click the there's a duplicate button here somewhere. I think it might just be copy. Yeah, so we're going to click copy, and then we're going to all we're going to do is say copy settings. We're not going to copy the leads in there. Okay, so we're just going to copy settings, and what that's going to do is going to create another one, and then we're going to go in here, and we are going to edit this campaign, and we're going to rename this live training. All right. Well, my Oculus absentee dial number added there, but we're going to re-add a new number. So please don't add that number to a spam one. So let's go into our CallRail real quick. This is my no excuses REI kind of test one. It's what I use for my course to teach how to use CallRail. And if we just go in here and we go into phone numbers, did I ever create a phone number in here? I think my trial period ended. I don't pay for this because no point. If my trial period ended, then I'm not going to reactivate it just for, okay. All right, so I created a Citrus County tracking number, I guess, and I'm forwarding it to another tracking number. So I'm just going to take this number here, and I'm going to basically just click this plus button here, add caller ID, paste that number in there, and then caller ID name. Let's just say Tyler. Internal name, we're going to call this one absentee list, and that's how you know which one to attach. You're going to save that caller ID, enter the whole number. Because I had a space in there, I think, maybe. Oh, I think they don't want the dashes. Yeah, so no dashes or hyphens. And then boom, it's added in there, and that's the one that they'll call. And when they call that, it's going to go through CallRail. So I'm just going to leave all the settings the same here. We call throughout everything. We call between 0800 and 2000. We use Power Dialer, live answers only, and we do 3 calls at a time. You can go up to 10 calls with CallTools, which is absolutely bonkers because there's no way you could handle 10 unless you have like a massive forwarding numbers for people that pick up and stuff like that. Just do 3 calls, guys. Don't worry about that. So Power Dialer, then you have the predictive dialer and so on. We just use the Power Dialer. All right. You have a max amount of calls. So let's just say you wanted to restrict, for example, like if you were to create a campaign for 4 different types of lists, and you hired a VA and you told her, okay, call every one of them. Every day, call through the list. You can actually, as an administrator, restrict to say, okay, you're only going to call 100 numbers a day on this campaign, and you could track those results. That way you can always figure out, okay, if I only call 100 a day, what's the results from that? If I do that for a week, do I get leads? What happens? So you can really get really nitty gritty with that. We abandon it. We go ahead and I make it visible from everybody. I don't know what just happened there. Make it visible for everybody for campaign settings. I let them see all that. For live answering, we do not call again for 1 day if someone picks up. Do not call for 3 days if we do a voicemail. We actually do not do voicemails. We're going to say this is checked, and federal DNC, we check against federal DNC and company DNCs and our redials. Do as you will there. I'm not going to tell you one way or another due to the fact that I don't want to get sued. Dial order, so we always dial our newest leads first. And then our connection speed is normal. It connects really, really fast with CallTools, so do not change this to fast. Whatever you do, don't change it to fast. There's no reason to. It's already really fast as it is. Call recording. Make sure you're figuring out if you're allowed to call record without notifications, stuff like that. There's some legal stuff you got to worry about there. And then we use the campaign default caller ID, which we uploaded earlier. And then we have a redial template for abandoned calls, which is the drop calls that we talked about earlier for the hangups. We're going to go ahead and that's that. We're going to go ahead and save and attach leads. And now what we're going to do is we're going to grab that one that we exported previously, and we're going to put that in here. So let me pull this over real quick. and find that. Downloads, what do we name that? County absentee let me find it. I know we downloaded it, right? Did I download it? I thought I did. I thought I did. Let me just go ahead and reopen it and re-download it here. Let me check IG. While that loads, okay, we're gonna go to CallTools sheet this time. We're gonna re-download it here. All right, file, download as CSV. Now I can just do show in folder. All right, so now that's done. We're gonna go ahead and see it was in there. I don't understand why it didn't show it. All right, so I'm just gonna drag it over. I'm gonna plop her in there. Okay, and that's going to go ahead and do its thing. Make sure I have this up. Make sure you guys are asking questions if you have questions so I can make sure you guys understand. Oh, there's a couple in here. Can you explain the relationship between CallTools and CallRail? CallRail is simply, hey, no problem. It's totally fine. CallTools is used for dialing, okay, and CallRail is used for tracking numbers, okay. Now, even though yeah, for sure, Juan. I don't know how to. I've never really know how to pronounce that, but JG. So yeah, it'll definitely be available because YouTube will save it. So yeah, it'll definitely be available. So yeah, CallRail I use for tracking numbers. You can also have what's awesome about CallTools. You can actually have JM. Yeah. I recognize the actual name. I just yeah. Okay, cool. What was I gonna say? CallRail is used for just your tracking numbers. You can have a number for $2 a month, I think it is extra. You can have a number inside of CallTools, and I'll show you that once I go into my call center. That is where we use that for dialing out sometimes because it's easier to dial out from there. But we also use the CallRail dialing. I'm gonna do a deep dive in CallRail and on another video on how to use their lead center one, and that's generally what we do use is that. Thanks to my buddy Armani, he put me onto that because I could never figure out how to use the calling from the browser from my computer. I always just use my phone. That's a pain in the ass. Not even kidding. It's a pain in the ass on CallRail to use your phone. But it's still the best source if you're trying to do there's other stuff out there. There's other dialers and other ways you can do it, Skype and all this other stuff. But you can also have a number inside CallTools and use that as well. But I like the tracking. I like everything flowing through CallRail as much as possible. So I use that as my tracking numbers inside of CallTools. So, all right, so I added that list in here and it populated it. Here's something to notice right away. Don't miss this up. I'm showing you it right now. If you're one of those guys that are rewatching this and you're one of those guys like most of my buddies where they start a YouTube video and they do the whole click, 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 and they just kind of skip through to look at the photos and try and get to where they want to see, you're going to miss this point, and you're probably going to upload a list and then fuck yourself over. So make sure you look. You're like, oh, crap, it mapped everything for me. Hell yeah. Well, guess what? That's mailing city. You need property address, okay? So we want to remove that. Okay, because when someone calls us back inside of our CRM, we don't care about their mailing address. We care about the property address because we want to answer the phone and say, what we were calling about, what property. So we're going to switch this over to property address. Where is it? Is that goofing? It's also not this phone number. We got to put this phone number. Master equals phone number. Where'd it go? It's property address. I always can't find it. Okay, address, property. Oh, wrong one. property address is address, property city is city, property state is state, property zip is zip, and then you can add notes if you wanted to add notes. And then I don't remember if there's a county one in here or not. No. All right, so first name, last name, make sure the property address and the city and the state and the zip codes matched up. Okay, and then click save. After you click save, it's going to take some time. It's going to be queuing because it's got to add all that in there, and then it's going to plop it in here. How long are we at, guys? How many hours? We're almost at an hour. Sweet. And it's not going to pop up right away. It's gonna do its thing, and then I'm going to refresh the screen, and then boom. So it popped up. Okay, so it's good. It showed 8,534, which is how many numbers is in there. So that's good. It actually showed up. Now, what you can see is its status is inserting contacts still. So it's still inserting these contacts into my CRM. Okay. So once that's finished, it'll actually have an option to pause and play this one here. So I'm going to show you guys like my probate one. And you'll notice that probate, all these are unpaused. So if I wanted to only call one of these, you know, I could pause these as needed. Okay. I don't know why I called this one that we just uploaded is showing under the probate one. But what we can do is we can switch over to this, and we can actually make sure that, let's refresh real quick. We can make sure that this is actually attached to this live training. So what we're going to do is say attach files, and then make sure that we have, it's not showing up on here. Where is it? Ocalusa, unknown equity. I don't know where it's at. But nevertheless, you can reattach that file if it's not. It's showing underneath of here, so it should be. I'm not quite sure why it would show under probate, though. That's kind of weird. Maybe because it's still inserting contacts. I'm not quite sure. But nevertheless, live training, it's uploading. It's still inserting contacts. It might be confused because he's already in here, but who knows. And you'll notice that you have monthly upload limit. I just uploaded 2,400 there, remaining 97,000. Okay. So after that's done, now what we can do is we can go back to our campaigns. Campaigns. I always click up here, but you got to click right here. Campaigns, and the live training one, we can go ahead and, well, actually, let's go ahead and open up an incognito mode real quick. Let me switch over to CallTools on here. Log in, and we're going to log in. We're going to log in with I logged in again to my admin account. I got to log in with my crap. I think that hold on a second. I think that I might have accidentally before, see agents. Oh, you know what? I forgot once because I also have an agent dashboard. It'll always log me in as an admin because I have an admin. So what you do, I totally forgot. What you do is up in the top right corner, you click agent dashboard, and that's going to switch over to the agent dashboard. If you had other agents, they would, when they log in,
now connected to the predictive dialer.
If you don't hear what just went through, that means that your microphone and stuff ain't connected right. You got to hear that in order for it to work. You got to have a green phone registered and a green predictive dialer here. So this is the dialer I was talking about. If you pay $2 or whatever, you'll get an extra number that you can have here and attach to your account. There's contacts in here. There's, any appointments, any voicemails that you have, and all that kind of stuff. Notice how there's no campaigns running here. What you end up wanting to do is I'm gonna go back. I don't know how to switch back to my dashboard. Let me just click the back button, I guess. That works. And then go back to campaigns, and then I'm gonna go ahead and press play on this one. All right. Buddy's giving me a call telling me to get on. Probably want me to get on Apex Legends because I'm addicted to that game. If you guys play PSN, hit me up.
Connected to the predictive dialer.
Austin 0710. Okay, so that one, I guess that one's not ready yet. It's still importing all the numbers. So what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna put let's put, oops, I'm gonna click that one. Feel free to ask questions, guys. I'm gonna go ahead and play this one and then go back to agent dashboard. Oh, you know what? Shoot. It's saying that warning because we're outside of the call times. That's actually a really important thing. I'm glad that just happened because I didn't even think about that. I have to go into this. Let me go into this campaign real quick. I'm gonna pause this one again. I'm gonna edit this campaign, and I'm actually, just for the sake of this example, I'm gonna extend out these call times to let's do 2400. Oops. Why aren't you showing up? 2300. All right, we're gonna save that. It's not going to let it start because it's not in the right hours. So now your campaign has been edited successfully. If I unpause this and then replay it, we should theoretically be good to go. But this is live, so anything can happen. Maybe it didn't update. I didn't even think about that being an issue right now. Shut up. Did not even think about that. It's not past 2300 right now. It's 10 o'clock. All the dates. Oh, let's change this one as well. I don't know if that plays. I've never messed with this really outside of the hours. I did try and call too early once and I had this issue. But we'll see if this fixes it. We put both of them at 2300.
Never. You are now connected to the predictive dialer.
For some reason, that's still not starting. Theoretically, it shouldn't care after you edit that, but maybe there's something else hanging it up. I'll try and pause it and play it one more time, but if it doesn't work after that, just just know that you start it. It's just waiting. It's waiting for it to reach the right time, which is weird to me because it's at 2300 local time. It's not past June 20th. I'm not quite sure why it wouldn't be starting right now. I think maybe it's just hung up or something. I might be, no, I think my account should be set to Central Standard Time. Oh, really? Okay. Well, let's try 2400. Not a valid time. So let's try 2359. Oh no, let's try that. I just realized I spelled training with 2 I's. All right, so that fixed it. Go team. All right, so click agent dashboard now. Theoretically, we should have a campaign in here. All right, there we go. All right, so
Connected to the predictive dialer.
all right, so you're gonna hear that. If for whatever reason you don't hear that, click on the little button up here, or you can go into your settings, click that, and you'll be able to manage your, whatever microphone you have set up and all that good stuff. That's all right, Steven. All good. It's going to be recorded. It is recorded and saved into my YouTube channel, so you'll be good to go. But what you'll do, I'm not going to click it because it'll start dialing these. Hey, by the way, guys, if this stuff's okay, like if this is like good content, you guys are enjoying it and it's like valuable, like I'd greatly appreciate like a like or thumbs up or something. I think that does something on YouTube. I don't know. So for some reason I am showing Eastern, which is weird because my account should have been Central. But either way, I guess that's kind of weird. So if I click join campaign right now, it would start dialing. Here's the big thing. A lot of people thumbs up on the video, the little like button, but I do appreciate the thumbs up in there as well. Hey, appreciate that. Thanks, guys. If I click join campaign, it's just going to start dialing. It's just going to look exactly like this, and that trips most people out. It's going to look just like this, and then once it connects to somebody, what it's going to do is it'll look like this. I'm gonna simulate it. Okay, I'm going to go into contacts. I'm going to click on this contact number. This is what's going to pop up. As soon as it connects to somebody, this is going to pop up, okay? And then you'll be able to say, they'll answer and you'll be like, hey, how's it going, Alan? My name's Tyler. I was just giving you a call. How you doing today? Or hey, how's it going, Alan? Man, I know this call's out of the blue, but how you doing today? And then, so you kind of start the conversation, and then he'll be like, oh, not too much. And then you'll be like, yeah, I know it's like, it's really cold outside right now. I wish it would warm up, but it's doing okay. But hey, man, I realized that this call is out of the blue, but I was just giving you a call about 5530 Royal Street. I was just looking to see if you'd be willing to receive an all cash offer on that property, or if you'd be looking at selling that property anytime soon. Yeah, and I always forget your first name's Tavian just because of blank. So that's kind of how that would go. And then what's going to happen is while it's dialing, there's going to be an end button over here. Okay, so you'll click end. Once the call is over, you'll click end over here, and then it'll stop the call. If I were to, I have mine linked to Podio, so if I were to type out notes here like blah 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 blah, and I were to switch this to dispositions to they weren't interested, and I were to click Podio, what's going to happen is it'll automatically pop up Podio web forms here. If I put a seller email in there and all that other stuff, then I'll click submit lead. It'll submit it into my CRM, and you're good to go. You can have it set up to where if you click Podio, it'll automatically just send it straight to the CRM. But it's easier just to link the web link. But CallTools will do all that for you through their support. You don't have to worry about it. You can also send SMS through here. I do not leave voicemails. Technically, if you really wanted to, you can kind of do like a voicemail drop plus, a voicemail drop and a calling at the same time, which is pretty badass. I just don't do it because I'm already doing RVM voicemail drops, and I didn't want to. We don't use cold calling in that method. Technically, I could probably save some money and just do straight cold calling and integrate voicemail drops. And I do have a buddy who switched over to that after this. So if you want to save money and you do have CallTools, just do the voicemail drops and save money in RVM for now. That's totally fine. You could just have it in both ways. You can assign leads in here. You can do you can just set up an appointment. Like let's say, for example, you get a hold of somebody and they're like, hey, I just can't talk right now. I want to talk to you, but can you call me back on this date or this time? Don't put that lead in Podio. It's not really a lead yet. Just set up an appointment here, and then it'll show up, and CallTools will remind you that you need to call that person. Okay. In fact, you can actually set up, which is freaking badass. Why I love CallTools. You can set up a rehash campaign, not a rehash campaign, but a shoot, I mentioned them earlier, but basically what happens is when it starts dialing, it'll call back any appointments first. You know what I mean? So that you don't even have to worry about remembering or, you know, to call that person individualized. But if you were to call that person back without it, you know, using the automated stuff, you just use your dialer over here and just give them a call. It's pretty straightforward. And then, you know, after you update everything, you click save. Now, here's one thing to remember with CallTools is the biggest thing. This Alan guy, Alan Well, let's go back to my contacts here real quick. Let me close out this guy. Notice how Alan does only have one number in here, but Carl does not have two either. Let me click next. We got to find someone with multiple numbers in here. Hold up. All right. Now, notice how Aaron Schmitz has like a bunch of numbers. Okay, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 numbers here for Alan Schmidt. CallTools, when you import the list, it looks at all of them as one. Okay, they're each number is an individual record. So what you have to do is, let's just say CallTools dials this first number, and this first number is a contact, and it actually ends up being Aaron. If it's not Aaron or whatever, whenever you choose your disposition or whatever, it's going to take care of that number for you. You don't got to worry about it. But if it is Aaron and you say yes and you add him in here, you don't want to have to redial these other ones. So at the end of the day, or even you could just not worry about it, period, because Aaron would end up going into Podio. But what you could end up doing is just going in here at the end of the day. Let's just say you got 5 leads for the day or something. You could go in here, select all the rest of those, and go ahead and delete those out of your CRM. That way you don't waste time calling numbers that aren't actually numbers. But here's the big thing about that is, in the end, it doesn't really matter because it's dialing so fast and everything. It's really not that big of a deal. But that is something to be aware of that a lot of people have questions about, okay? Oh, that's how I switch back to the manager's dashboard. I've never had to do that before, so that's kind of interesting. So, all right, so I mean, that's pretty much CallTools, okay? That's as deep as I'm going to get into CallTools as far as uploading it and doing all that nonsense. Hold on, sorry, someone just sent me kind of a weird text message. So yeah, so that's pretty much it. You know, you start the campaign, you join the campaign, you do dials, and you go from there. And I'll delve more into CallTools and do more stuff on CallTools in my course. I'll have a lot of, I'll be covering CallTools heavily on the rehashing campaigns and stuff like that. But that's enough to get you going. Okay, that's as far as deep as I want to go. So what we do is we take REI Sift and we use it to upload all of our data, clean all of our data, skip trace our data. Well, what we will skip trace, I don't skip trace with REI Sift right now. I have to export it and then, you know, send it for skip tracing. But I'm super excited to have that all within REI Sift. And then after we do that, we go ahead and we upload it into CallTools. We call the big stuff pretty heavily. And then the niche stuff, the stuff that is on multiple lists, we also call more on an individual basis. And that's a whole nother pipeline. But we do a little bit of both. And that's how, and this is how we use CallTools. So now, if you don't have Podio, which if you want, you can sign up with Podio for free. Go into the apps after you sign up with a Podio account. You got to create a organization in Podio, and then go into the App Store and type in real estate investing, or just type in real estate. And there's one in there called real estate investing. Sorry, I was reading your message, Jamal. What was I saying? Yeah, type in real estate and you'll see a real estate investing one. Go ahead and add that in there. That's all free. And then you could have, you know, the seller leads in there. You could tweak it a little bit and just use that for now. If you don't want to use CallTools or Podio at all right now, you could make something kind of like this. This is what I have for people in my course. And then, you know, I've given it out to a couple people or whatever that kind of just needed help. It's literally so simple. It's first name, last name. This is linked with Google itself with the conditional formatting, you know, and you can choose different colors for different things. It's just, you know, Excel-y, googly, nerdy stuff. But, you know, if it's sold or whatever, you can add it in here. So you add all your actual leads in here. Okay. And any notes that you have, if you get their email, it's basically the same stuff that goes over to Podio, except you just put it in an Excel document. and that's that. So make something like this for yourself and use that instead. Keep it in Google Sheets or whatever, and go from there. So we'll close that out now. We don't need CallRail no more. List stacking, how list stacking works is list stacking will basically essentially just say, hey, if you have clean data or you have any data and this property address is on multiple of the lists that you've uploaded, then what it's going to do is it's just going to show that, right? And it just shows a 2 next to that record saying, hey, this is on 2 lists. And then you click on the name of the person that owns those properties, and then you'll be able to see what list that property is on. In fact, in REI SIF, we're actually going as far as being able to kind of do it by the person. So if you wanted to search, this is logic that we're implementing, but if you wanted to stack by person, let's just say Tyler Austin, I have an absentee list, and I'm curious if Tyler Austin owns 10 properties in Okaloosa County, then I would just search by Tyler Austin, and then it would stack me, and then I click on me, and I'd be able to see all the properties that I own. So that the reason we're integrating that is so that if a property is list stacked and it's showing on 3, and that property is showing on 3 different lists, my immediate question is, well, does this person have any other properties? Because if he has 5 properties and they're all distressed, they can turn into it's a totally different conversation. So we wanted to be able to have that flexibility to be able to look out from both perspectives, because I have to do that manually as of now, because on my local scripts on my computer, it's just too much of a pain in the ass to create Excel macros that talk between each other to even do something like that. So it's much easier with Python and inside of a web app that you have more control over a database and things like that. I covered basically from start to finish, just kind of for people who might not have been here in the whole thing, man, I covered all the way from the very beginning on how to, where to get your list, what YouTube videos am I to watch to figure out how to get your list. We talked about other lists that you can get from your county to look into, like getting probate list. You got code enforcements, you got tax delinquent lists, you got, vacant property stuff. You can link with somebody from your USPS to do that. REI SIF will scan against vacancy property lists, and once you upload your stuff in there once a month, we're going to be doing scans with vacancy. So you essentially get a free list inside of REI SIF in addition to address validation. So you can do that manually if you wanted to. You can set up a script like that on your computer or whatever. To do that if you know how to do coding and stuff like that. There's tons of different things to do there. Then we moved into how to actually do, while I'm talking, I'm actually moving over to my design again, because I want to show my design again for anybody who might not have been in here to vote on the design again. What was I saying? So yeah, we covered basically what to do with your list. I showed kind of an example of a local script of how cleaning happens to list and breaks it down. With REI SIF, it wouldn't look like this. This is a local script. This would all be inside. We store all this kind of data, but it's in a database and stuff. But it breaks it one list. This list is what we broke down. We broke this list down into 4 other lists: clean data, company data, incomplete data, and trusts. Then we simulated skip tracing the clean data, and then we uploaded that and created a campaign inside of CallTools. And then from there, we went over and kind of showed a little bit about how the calls happen and stuff like that. And then what to do with your leads after the fact. So let me pull this up here. I'm going to real quick, I'm going to switch this over back to me real quick while I set this up real quick, because it's got to be weird. I got to like set up a screen. How do I do this again? I got to figure out how to use YouTube again. Here we go. So switching over to the camera, I think. Screen share. So I'm going to switch back to my camera. Maybe. All right, cool. So we're back on me. Let me finish pulling this up here. You guys can let me know which one you guys think looks the best. It's just going to be the landing page, is what people see when they land on the REI SIF. Since people are in here and they can give me feedback, I'm going to do that. So I'm going to switch back over to my computer screen now. Boom, share. All right, so this is design number 1 for REI Sift's landing page. You know, everyone voted, and this ended up being the logo. Oh, you guys can't see it yet. Hold on. Once it transfers over. All right, so this is REI Sift's landing page. This is the first design. I'm just gonna kind of scroll through it. If you guys like the colors, the kind of the idea behind it, yada yada yada, pricing, get in touch, boom, and then the next one, REI Sift design landing page number 2, how it works, filtering your data, cleaning your data, why people use it, so on. The one thing I don't like about this one is for some reason my designer put stocks on here, and we're nothing to deal with stocks, and so on. I personally like number 1. The only thing I don't like is how I want the clouds to be a little bit darker that are in the background here, because it looks really white. So that might be something that we might change, but I like number 1. Yeah, I appreciate that, Jamal. I'm not a huge fan of this little thing. I'm not quite sure what that is. I think they're showing, that there are different features that are stacking, but I might ask him to move that funnel from this funnel here over to maybe here. Yeah, so this is a landing page, and basically the dashboard will look this clean as well. Kind of like a modern look here. With the landing page, you click on members, and it takes you over to the dashboard, and the dashboard will have a very similar flow, clean, light, and pretty straightforward. So appreciate that. Let me know if you can, if you're in here and you're able to message, just put a 1 or a 2 on which ones you guys like the most. And I do appreciate it. And the only reason I bring this up is because a lot of people that, for the people that are in here, most of you probably already have REI Sift, or you guys follow me on Instagram, and I like sharing this kind of stuff. So let me go ahead and close that out, switch back to my camera. And let's go ahead and move over to Q&A. So let me know any questions that you guys have that is CallTools related. Hey, appreciate that. Hey, RE Investments, thanks for that. Thanks, Phil. Appreciate you guys so much. Let's move over to Q&A. What kind of questions do we have? Anything that I can cover real quick on stuff that you might just be a little bit confused about, just anything in your business, any questions with real estate, we'll go ahead and do a little bit of that. Hopefully a little bit more focused on calling and your lists and list stacking, and any objections that you currently have on why you're not with REI Sift. If you signed up for REI Sift, what's going to happen is you're going to receive an email. Something I still had to do tonight, actually. Everybody who's a founder member of REI Sift right now is going to get access tomorrow evening to REI Sift, but it's going to be access to REI Sift's dev side, okay? Because the founders, the reason that we're giving 50% off on REI Sift right now is because our founders are also our beta testers, right? You're the people getting everything first. So the actual app for anybody who's not a founder is not going to be actually released for the next between 2 weeks and a month. But the founders are going to be able to use the app in development. So like the back end and the landing page, for example, isn't going to look like what you see now, primarily because my designer was in a flu outbreak in Eastern Europe. I guess there was a big flu outbreak. So he's only just now finally being able to send me this stuff and approve things and stuff like that. But integrating those designs is pretty straightforward, but that's going to be on the back end. But what we want to do is, as founders, when you import your data, anything that you have, any issues that you have, anything that kind of gets mixed up, I'm going to have a Google form that you submit that to, and that way we can get all those things ironed out. One big thing with the founders is all your data initially is going to be inside of the dev environment, right? That's going to be what's called a staging area in development. And with that, you're going to be able to do your cleaning of your list. You're going to be able to do all that stuff and export it just like I showed today. But when the full web app finishes, you have two options at that point. You can either export your data from the dev side and re-upload it, or you can just go ahead and just re-upload it, whatever list you do have inside of the fully launched version, and then it would be as if nothing happened, which is what I would probably do if I was you, which I am you, because I don't have anything extra special. I'll be doing the same exact thing that you guys are doing, and really working with you guys. And in addition to that, every week we're going to be having hot washes and things that you guys think that might be a good filter to have, might be, all that stuff. You guys are going to really be embedded into, into REI Sift. You cannot skip trace right now. That is in our 1 month outlook. So skip tracing, the big thing with it, and the reason that we're adding people in tomorrow evening is so that we can make sure that when you're uploading your data, that everything's uploading properly. Because the problem is I have a lot of data, but I don't have everybody's data. Everybody's data is so much different that, with your data being how it is, we want to make sure that everything comes in smoothly and we can tweak anything. And then once we tweak everything, we know that all the data is uploading properly, with all the baselines, because everybody's going to have, there's just no way to account for everybody's difference in data, because REI Sift does actual sifting and filtering, which nobody else does. They just tell you to upload a list. We try and provide that leg ahead to clean out the list, like I showed today. Because of that, there's going to be some tweaking we need to do so that we can make sure that when you send something for skip tracing, it's going to send it in the best way possible to make sure you get the best results back. But that's in our 1 month outlook. The other thing with the skip tracing portion of it is I'm trying to get the cheapest skip tracing, the best, cheapest skip tracing as possible for REI Sift, so that I can give it to you guys as cheap as possible, so that you guys skip trace with REI Sift instead of somewhere else that's cheap. You know what I mean? I'm not trying to make a whole bunch of money off of skip tracing in REI Sift. I'm going to make, obviously, because I got to pay for the data, I got to build the relationships, I got to pay for the coding and all that stuff. I got to make something from the skip tracing, but it's not going to be like some places make 40 cents off of skip tracing. I'm not a skip tracing company. We are a web application of software as a service, and that is one of our features. So fulfillment to me should not be something that I make it rich off of. It should be something that is a nice service that allows you to want to stay in REI Sift because of that feature. And the same thing goes with our mailing that we're going to have in there for postcards and everything else. So hopefully that answers a lot of that stuff there. But yeah, you will have access tomorrow evening, knock on wood. I feel like everything's going against me for the launch on March 1st, because yesterday, for the last 2 days, one of my Prime developers actually had food poisoning. And so I was like, what do you mean? No, like drink a bunch of water. Like, this has to happen. I've been promising this for like a month now, because I was supposed to launch February 1st, but there was a huge issue with one of my developers, and they messed some stuff up. So we had to go back and redo a lot, which was really expensive for me. So it really sucked. But that happens. I'm a tech guy. I understand that things don't always go as planned, but consumers always don't understand that. But I'm trying to be as transparent as possible with some of the emails I send out. Like, after you sign up right now, you should have received an email explaining that. And then that's also why I put it at such a cheap entry into it, so that in the meantime, what everybody should be doing that's founders right now is gathering as many lists as they possibly can that are free lists, getting a hold of as many people, like some of the people that are DMing me right now. You know who you are, right? We're working on you guys getting the best amount of data as you can, so that when you officially have REI Sift and it's functioning in the best way possible, you're going to end up being able to use it to maximum capability, which you'll still be able to do tomorrow. The actual stacking might not be until Monday, but the cleaning and everything else will be there for us to tweak. Any other questions that's actually other real estate related questions that I can help you guys out with before we kind of end this out, because we're going on an hour and a half. And a lot of people don't have the attention span to last that long. As we can see, people are already dropping off just for me not talking about what I said I was going to be talking about, which is cold calling, or really cold calling campaigns. But what other questions we got? Ask me anything real quick. We'll go for a while. Appreciate all the thumbs up on those. We got some thumbs ups. Appreciate that. Anything else? And also, like, I'd super enjoy if you guys shared this out on wherever you can share it. Share this link to this YouTube video. Anybody else that you know that that's in real estate that I can help out. I really appreciate it. Another thing REI SIF will have for just putting it in a video that's on record is REI SIF will actually have a 25% affiliate program. So essentially, REI SIF is going to be $95 a month after official launch. So the founders are definitely getting a 50% discount. And at $95 a month, if you refer somebody to it through your affiliate account, if you sign up for our affiliate program, you'll get 25% of that, which is equivalent to $25. So like if you sign up as a founder member and you get two people, two of your friends to sign up with REI SIF, essentially they're actually paying for your subscription. And if you get 4, that means you're making $58 extra a month. You get 10 people, that means you're making whatever 25 times 10 is minus 50. So you can actually I believe in having the ability to make anything free. So if somebody's objection is, hey, I can't afford $47 a month, I say, well, can you at least afford it for 1 month? Because then all you got to do is get 2 other people after the fact, and then it's free for you. And that's kind of a way, not only obviously for a marketing way to be able to spread REI SIF, but it's also because I like when like my call rail, for example, I like sharing call rail with other people because I get credits on my calls and it helps negate my business expenses. So that was one of my big things, was trying to negate all my business expenses by sharing, OnCarrot and sharing all the other resources that I use so that, other people can use it. And then that company benefits me, because it helps make my ROI better. So think about that as you're growing your business as well. Where can you double tap, and try and negate some of those and turn your marketing into 100% ROI. So that's another good gem there for you guys. I appreciate that, Jamal. Hopefully it was valuable to you guys. People are trickling off, so I feel as though maybe the value is getting less and less and less as I just talk about random stuff. So I'm going to go ahead and end this now. Make a few phone calls on some people that are messaging me. Some random people just messaged me in Spanish. I can't speak Spanish, but I really appreciate it. Hey, no problem, Terry. I really appreciate you guys spending the time and almost an hour and 40 minutes with me watching this. You guys are super awesome. Thanks so much. Make sure you share it, and if you have any questions, hit me up on Instagram, Tyler Austin Original. And yeah, that's about it, guys. Thank you so much. I'll figure out how to close this out right now. Stop the broadcast, and we'll go from there. Thanks, guys, so much. I'll talk to you soon.